Hey, welcome back to Twin Cities Live. We're having a good time this afternoon. We are celebrating the 96th Annual Academy Awards, which air on ABC Sunday night.
That's right, 6 p.m. Oscar award-winning movies are known for bringing the drama. How about films like Best Picture winning Kramer versus Kramer? Oldie but goodie. They take the stories of divorce and dramatize them.
Jody and Shannon from the law offices of Turzich and Ort are here to tell us what cases like this look like in real life. Nice to have you ladies here. I do want to ask you before we start, so is it like me when I'm watching movies that involve television shows or like live television shows and I'm like, that's not even technically possible. There's no way they could do that. Does that happen to you when you're watching movies that involve family law?
Yes.
And you're yelling at the TV. Yes.
My children refuse to watch TV with me when we're watching those kind of shows.
Yeah, like if you're watching Law and Order, we have a
that doesn't happen. There's no surprise witness.
Absolutely.
I hate to admit it, but I do the same thing with football movies.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
I watch a football movie like, that's so stupid. Like, that never happens like that. You know, they're just over-dramatizing.
That's
But,
what they do.
okay, for the people like myself that have not seen Kramer versus Kramer, okay, I know. It's just like Miracle on Ice. I get it. I'm bad about this stuff. Remind everybody that hasn't watched it like me what this movie is about.
Well, the film depicts a family going through a divorce. They have a crisis, and mom walks out, essentially. Right?
That's Meryl Streep, right?
Yep. She leaves the family and says she needs a break, and she disappears, and she leaves dad to essentially parent this child on his own. And after months go by, she returns and says, I'm ready to take this child back, and they go through a real ugly legal proceeding.
Yeah.
And of course, based on the timing of 1979, there was much more bias about parents and what that looks like, and they go through a real ugly legal proceeding.
Interesting. Okay, so let's talk about this when it comes to real life. If a parent leaves the joint residence and they're the ones that are, you know, I don't want to say abandoning, but they're like leaving the home. Jody, what happens in that situation? Is that parent looked at differently than the other parent?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that what we're doing is we're trying to have a communication about when their parent is going to see the child. It's more difficult because if you have a school-age child, right, that child is coming and going from school, so how do you have access if you've left the home? But you don't lose your rights to that child because you've decided to leave. And there's many reasons that people will decide to leave, and sometimes because of the best interests of the children. The stress in the family is just too much to have the parents together.
Okay, so you don't abandon your rights to the child, but what about the residence itself, like the hard assets? I mean, you want to get out, maybe you feel like the relationship is toxic. I need to remove myself. Does anything happen with your actual rights to your property?
Absolutely not. So if I choose to leave the marital residence and rent an apartment, I still have rights to that home going through a divorce. I still have rights to come to the house and pick up my sweaters and my toothbrush, and there's still ability to do that. And people are always afraid about, you know, if I leave, does it mean I don't have a right anymore? There's some logistical things that can be complicated, like how do you make sure the mortgage gets paid and what are people's obligations that are more complicated questions, but your right to have access or your right to have ownership in that house long term is not affected.
Okay, so in Minnesota, can people relocate with their children out of state? That's a question, because that happens in the movie.
It
they're
does.
Trying to figure it out.
In the movie, mom moves, I think, to California, and when she returns, it's her intention to take the child and move back to California, and so
Yeah, and in Minnesota, you can't do that unless you have a court order or unless you have the agreement of the other party.
Okay.
So somebody has to make those decisions. Those decisions are made looking at the totality of the circumstances and what is in the best interest of the child.
Interesting.
So I'm guessing because of this movie, she walks out and the husband has kind of custody until she figures out what's going on, and they start this thing. Does gender from, you know, father and mother play any role legally? Because she walked out. Now, I'm going to guess that he is the male and the father feels like he has more rights to the custody part of it. Is that
because he didn't bail?
because he didn't bail?
I mean, what does
like
the
how
judge
does that?
do?
Yeah, how does that work out?
So custody determinations and parenting time are decided based on the best interests of the child. So there isn't a mom gets a leg up, dad gets a leg up, right? In this movie, right, is old. So we probably see far more. I think that's part of the movie is exploring gender roles and looking at some of those things. Much different, you know, kind of situation today. But in the statute, we don't look at gender. Certainly there are factors that, you know, often, right, if you're a nursing mother with an infant, that's a
Right.
very different situation than raising a 9-year-old. So there are factors that might weigh in your favor based on gender, but those things ebb and flow, and we look at all of the factors to determine where the best placement for a child
I
is.
think people can be surprised by that. I mean, I've known of people who have been like, well, I'm just clearly a better parent and I'm
Right.
leaving, and so I'm going to get full custody of my child. And then it's like a real rude awakening when they find out that is not at all how it works.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is why there ends up being custody battles and long drawn out custody battles, because one person might think that this factor is more important than this factor over here, and the reality is the statute is written to say no one factor outweighs the other.
Yeah, I'm guessing a lot of this can get very, very messy and heated and personal when you're talking about custody of the children. How are the courts set up when you're in these proceedings behind the scenes and you're trying to talk about maybe the positives and negatives to parenting? And I'm sure some parents may, they may say really nasty things about the other parent, whether it's true or not true. Like how do you sift through what's accurate, what's not accurate, and what's legal?
So really difficult question, right? So some of it obviously is perspective. I can say my perspective is I'm a better parent than you are. And that may or may not be true. And then other things are just intrinsically provable. I took the kid to the doctor, you never did. Well, there'll be a record. Who took? So, some of it's weighing, credibility and looking at, did you not do that because you're just not capable, right? You never took him to the doctor because you're just a crummy parent? Or is it because somebody else was doing that and you were mowing the lawn, right? So it's really looking at, is it somebody's truthfulness? Is it their propensity? Is it just because we all have different roles, and trying to sift through that? So yeah, it can get ugly, and it so often is more about people's perspective than.
This is why having an attorney to guide you through this process is really helpful. Thank you so much, ladies.
Yeah,
really
thank
appreciate it.
you.
Now, we all need to watch Kramer versus Kramer. If you need advice about anything related to divorce, Jody and Shannon are here to help, and we have their contact information on our website. That is, of course, TwinCitiesLive.com. Cue the music.
Oh, the music means we're ending this segment, but we're going to be back. We got a lot more right after this.